Welcome everyone, my name is Andrew. This is Article 10 of the National Master Contract. Today, we are covering Article 10, Sections 1 through 3, Loss and Damage. These sections set forth the protections against discipline or fees related to lost or damaged packages and or payments. If you want to skip ahead straight to the reading, go ahead and click on the timestamp in the description. Below, you can find a link to the UPS Teamster contract, or if you have not already, you can also download the UPS Teamster app on Android or the Apple Store. This app includes the contract with a handy search function that allows you to find articles and sections immediately important to your situation. I've also included a shorts link below to help you with installation. If you haven't already, please do like and subscribe, and welcome back to Teamster's Guide to the Contract. Now, let us begin. Article 10, Loss and Damage. Section 1. No employee shall make any reimbursement or have monies deducted from his or her pay for loss or damage to parcels except as provided in this section. No employee shall be disciplined or required to make reimbursement for lost or damaged parcels unless the employer demonstrates that the employee, without justification or mitigation, violated pertinent established rules or policies, the observance of which would have prevented the loss or damage. In no event shall a driver be subject to reimbursement for loss or damage to a driver release parcel valued at $100 or less. The employer will provide each driver a current list of all driver release areas and all non-driver release areas within that driver's area upon request. An employee who is charged for loss or damage by the employer shall not be subject to both discipline and reimbursement. The employer will clearly notify the employee and the union of its intent to either discipline or seek reimbursement. No employee shall be subject to discipline or reimbursement unless the employer brings the loss or damage to the employee's attention within 15 business days after receiving a written shipper notice of claim. When an employee is subject to discipline, the employee shall not make any reimbursement for such loss or damage. When an employee is subject to reimbursement, the employee shall not be subject to discipline for loss or damage. Any employee who is found to be responsible for 2 reimbursements in a 12-month period may receive a warning letter in addition to being responsible for reimbursement should a third loss occur in the same 12-month period. No action shall be taken by the employer under this section until the grievance procedure is invoked and concluded. In such grievance hearings, the employer shall present its case first. If an employee is held liable for reimbursement for loss or damage under Article 10, Section 1 in regard to any package, he or she will be held liable for the value of the package and the amount paid by the employer to the customer or the insured value of the package, whichever is least. Reimbursement schedules shall be reasonable and fair, based upon the circumstances of each case. This article is not to be construed as a permitting charges for loss or damage to the equipment, nor is this article to be construed as permitting charges for any loss or damage to merchandise as a result of vehicular accident under any circumstances. Section 2. Employees handling money shall account for and remit the same to the employer at the completion of each day's work. An employee's cash turn-in may be verified or audited by the employer. If the employer fails to verify and deposit an employee's cash turn-in when requested, no deduction or disciplinary action shall be taken. Upon request by the local union, the employer and the local union shall meet to review any problems relating to transportation of cash via feeders or cashier's check rules. To ensure that the employee will not be held accountable when the employer verifies and deposits or fails to verify and or deposit the employee's cash turn-in, the employee and the employer will sign a document to be maintained by the employer showing whether the employee requested verification and deposit and whether the employee's cash turn-in has either been verified and deposited or not verified and or deposited. In cases of proven bona fide error in addition or subtraction of the cash turn-in, the employee will be responsible for making proper restitution for such shortage. In such cases of bona fide error, the employer and an employee, with the participation of the local union, and where permitted by applicable law, shall execute a written document providing for an agreement upon amount and schedule of reimbursement and or deduction. A copy of any such agreement will be provided by the local union. The employer will incorporate into the dyad for packages shipped using WorldShip and MaxiShip within 60 days of ratification, as well as other shipping systems when it is technologically feasible, a function that will prompt the driver when a specific type of fund is to be collected for each COD delivery. For example, certified funds, cashier's check, money orders. The employer will notify the union prior to the installation of the prompts and or as the system is expanded. If the driver collects an improper check, the employer shall inform the driver of that acceptance. The employer shall make a reasonable effort to collect for losses due to bad checks, to include a driver follow-up and an attempt by the manager or his designee to meet with the consignee and a letter to the consignee requesting payment when appropriate. Should a driver who has been held liable for restitution choose to pursue legal recourse against the consignee, the employer will provide any necessary documents to aid the driver in processing a claim through the courts. The employee shall not be held liable for restitution or disciplined if he or she accepts an irregular check if a reasonable person would have accepted the check. No employee shall be subject to restitution or discipline unless the employer brings the bad check to the employee's attention within 15 business days after receiving a written shipper notice of claim. No action shall be taken by the employer under this section until the grievance procedure is invoked and concluded. In such grievance hearings, the employer shall present its case first. Reimbursement schedules shall be reasonable and fair based upon the circumstances of each case. The employer will not post or make available for viewing in the workplace any employee's social security number or home telephone number. In areas where bidding systems require both a signature and a phone number, an employee will have the option of providing his or her phone number privately to the person controlling the bid. Section 3. The employer shall reimburse employees for loss of personal money or personal property in a holdup or vehicular accident while on duty up to a maximum of $200 per employee, provided the employee promptly reports such holdup or vehicular accident to the employer and the police, and cooperates in the investigation of such holdup or vehicular accident. Employees shall be paid for all time involved. However, reimbursement for cash loss shall be limited to $100.